Greetings everybody, Redbeard here for the November 16th, 2016 edition of the Midweek Update. There was no Midweek Update last week because I was vacationing in Orlando, Florida, a city that's sort of become synonymous with pro wrestling. Of course, there was no wrestling in town while I was there. Go figure. Number 5 story of the week is that The Rock has been named the sexiest man alive by People magazine. This, of course, is probably no surprise to a whole lot of people because of the fact that The Rock is The Rock. He's a guy who's in tremendous shape. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's gifted beyond measure in terms of his physical prowess. You can go on and gush about just his look and his appearance, but it's also a reflection of the tremendous amount of hard work that he puts into maintaining his physique as well. And he's one of those guys who's really, he's an older gentleman now. He's not old by any means, but he's getting up there in years in terms of being in his mid-40s now, and he's been able to seemingly grow like a lot of Hollywood best men have, to a point to where as they get a little bit of gray around the edges, they're more appreciated because of the fact that they've got that kind of sage, mature look about them, and that's a great thing because he's been able to maintain himself. He's a continuous box office draw in terms of his ability to make a bankable impact with any production he is a part of. And we're going to continue to see that this fall and winter with the fact that he's going to be involved with the release of Moana, a new Disney animated picture. But his story really and truly, and this is just one of the accolades that he's been awarded over the years, but his story is really tremendous. And if you've never read his biography that came out a number of years ago, you really should pick it up sometime because the story that he tells in that book about the transition that he makes from being, a top-tier professional, not professional, but a top-tier collegiate athlete and playing for the University of Miami, to then transitioning to a point where he wasn't really good enough to make it in the NFL, wasn't even really good enough to make it in the Canadian Football League, sleeping on mattresses that they found that had been discarded by hotels, having $7 in his pocket at one point in time to his name. Just a crazy story about a guy who has kicked butt, worked hard, and done everything he could to earn what he's got in life, and that's a tremendous story. It's definitely worth checking out if you've never seen it before, or never read it, I should say. But yeah, this is one more thing that he gets to add on to the pile of accolades he's received, and it's obvious that it's worthwhile. Hey, I ain't gonna lie about it. He's a pretty man. Number 4 story of the week is WWE interested in having Conor McGregor in for an appearance? Definitely appears as though they are, at least for some comments that Triple H has made here recently. If you weren't aware and if you don't follow MMA, I kind of loosely follow it myself, but a guy like McGregor is one of those who's able to draw people in because of the fact that he runs his mouth so well as he does. But McGregor was involved with a fight this past weekend, the UFC 205 card. That was said to be a pretty awesome card from top to bottom as far as what I've been reading. But the big news to come out of it was the fact that Conor McGregor won the fight that he was in with another fighter named Eddie Alvarez. And in so doing, he also now has the distinction of becoming the first UFC fighter to hold multiple titles in multiple weight classes. That's right, he's got 2 belts to his name, and they're in 2 different weight classes. He holds the UFC lightweight and also the featherweight championships at this point in time. The difference in those 2 weight classes is somewhat significant as well, so the fact that he can make transitions back and forth from one to the other is pretty amazing. And we're talking about a very talented athlete here, obviously, and somebody who's worked a long time to get to where he is, but the case may be that he's also potentially got a career in professional wrestling waiting for him if and when he decides to step away from MMA. That probably isn't going to be anytime soon because he's still in the prime of his career, still making good money doing that, and seems to be in good health as well, so he's probably got a long way to go before he would ever even consider going to WWE full-time, which is why people have been thinking this is more of maybe a one-off type of thing that they might be doing, similar to what happened with other fighters. Of course, you have Ronda Rousey, who appeared at WrestleMania a couple of years ago, and this could be a similar situation to that, where he makes an appearance. They have him in some type of a contest with somebody, maybe a Rusev or someone else along those lines, maybe a Braun Strowman, and just take advantage of his name value there. Would be interesting to see what kind of money he would command for an appearance like that, because the purses on some of these fights are in the multi-million-dollar range, and it's just amazing to think of how much he might be able to get for an appearance like a WrestleMania, for example. Because of course you had other examples, as we mentioned, Ronda Rousey, but then you also had the fighter, I forget his name, but the boxer who was around, Floyd Mayweather, who was around a couple of years ago as well. He was said to have gotten a ton of money for really just showing up and punching Big Show one time there. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. McGregor is definitely someone who would be able to come in and make an appearance and not have to have a whole lot of coaching, because he seems to be able to run his mouth and use the gift of gab there like you would expect a top tier wrestler to be able to. So it's be a matter of putting him in the right spot at the right time, and also signing off on the check that would require him that he would be able to command, I should say, in making that appearance. So we'll see what happens. Number 3 story of the week is that TNA has settled their debts with Billy Corgan. This is a story that seems to be at its end here now after multiple weeks of churning back and forth, lots of bad blood, lots of bad press for pretty much all involved, but it now seems to be kind of getting to a point of equalization in terms of where the ownership of TNA actually lies, and also who's in control and where the company will be going forward. It looks at this point in time as though everything has been squashed between TNA and Billy Corgan, mainly because of the fact that Corgan has been made whole, not so much by TNA, but by this other investor that's come along to be a part of the TNA organization. Corgan was owed somewhere, and this is a figure that's been tossed back and forth because he's not really sure what it actually is, but somewhere between $1.8 and nearly $3 million he was paid back by a company called Anthem Sports Entertainment. Anthem Sports Entertainment is a company that has some dealing with some Canadian broadcast companies and whatnot, but they seem to be now the forerunner in terms of the conquest, as you might want to call it, of the search for a new owner of TNA. I don't think they're going to be the sole owner anytime soon, but they do appear to be the one who's come forward to be sort of in command now. When they're able to pony up $3 million, then yeah, I'd say that puts you in command of the company. But it was said that the settlement between Anthem, TNA, and Billy Corgan left everybody pleased with what was going on. Corgan now is totally out of the picture as far as control of TNA is concerned. And to be honest, I think that's for the best, because really and truly he was going to wind up with a company that's not worth that much, and really a company that a lot of people are still questioning the stability thereof, because Anthem being on board is a great thing, but what about the international TV contracts? What about the ability to get this show that they're generating and this product they're trying to bring forward in front of people's faces? Are they going to be able to do that in the future? We'll see. If you have enough money, you can do anything, of course, but it just depends on whether or not this can be a profitable venture, and of course whether or not people want to see what TNA actually is doing. That's the big question, because creatively, with the exception of what they've been doing with the Broken Hardys, that's pretty much Matt Hardy's own thing there, there's not been a whole lot of interest going on with TNA creatively. Just not a whole lot to really speak of. And that's, again, not a knock on the talent, that's a knock on the fact that this company has been spinning its wheels for a long time. So hopefully they'll get on a good course here with the stability that hopefully will come from this agreement between them and Anthem Sports. And maybe we'll have a veritable number 2 in this country again when it comes to pro wrestling. Or maybe we'll just have something else to point and laugh at when it comes to Dixie Carter's bastard redheaded child, that is TNA Wrestling. Number 2 story of the week is that Joey Stiles is out of work. This is a pretty unfortunate story. It has some twists and turns to it, and it's just one of these things that is a very topical story at the moment because of what it involves. If you're unaware, a couple of months ago, Joey Stiles was released from his contract with WWE. He was a digital media specialist for them for a good long while, had not been involved in commentary for a long while for one reason or another. But once he was apart from the company, he did open up himself to being able to go and do some commentary for other companies. And he had signed agreements with Evolve, Chikara, and a couple of other companies to go out and be more or less their voice. And it was something that a lot of people were looking forward to, myself included, because I was always a fan of Joey Styles' work. But he had been involved in a couple of broadcasts, and then it came up this past weekend that he was going to be at the Evolve 72 production, which is a big deal suddenly because of the fact that Evolve is now part of the Flow Slam offering, which is, of course, the streaming product from Flow Sports. And the big thing to do here was that there were all kinds of executives from the company involved in there. And during the broadcast, Joey made a comment that referenced some comments that have been made by our president-elect in the past. And you probably know which ones I'm talking about. But I'm going to read what Joey actually said during the broadcast. And he's referencing Joanna Rose. When I say Joanna, of course, is a member of the team there with Evolve, but this is Joey's actual statement from the broadcast. Joanna, you look great tonight, and if our next president were here tonight, he'd want to grab you by the... And he stopped there. And then he went on to say that the word he was going to say is what the manager Stokely Hathaway is in real life. He never said the actual word. He more or less made a reference to this crude bit of humor, crude bit of insensitive commentary, whatever you want to call it. But evidently that was enough for him to lose his job because he's been fired not only by Evolve, by Chikara, and pretty much anyone who had been willing to be associated with him after the fact. The story goes, and this is from some statements that Joey has made after the fact, in being very forthright and being very apologetic about the whole thing. He did say that he went to Gabe Sapolsky, who is the owner and operator of Evolve, and said to him more or less, "I'm sorry, please fire me publicly." So that's him falling on the sword there. And this is an unfortunate scenario, I will say, but it is also an example as to why people always are critical of WWE and how they script everything out, but this is an example of why they do that, because you eliminate the possibility of someone kind of tripping over their own tongue and making a comment along these lines. But Stiles has been very apologetic. He's received a lot of support from women in the industry. Mickie James and also Dawn Marie have come forward speaking up for him on his behalf. Here again, I don't think it was that bad of a remark, especially considering some of the things that you see on TV. It's topical. It's something that references some things that are going on here in the now. Was it worth firing him over? I don't think so. But here again, you've got a company like Evolve who's brand new to this agreement with Flow Slam. They're trying to do the best they can with this, and they've got to try and maintain a good face. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate that he lost a position with these companies, seeing as how he is a talented guy, but I'm sure there will be others who will come along and offer him some type of a deal. He may, though, just decide to kind of step away for a little while and let the heat roll off. But still, it's a crazy scenario, an unfortunate scenario, but it does hopefully have some brightness at the end of the tunnel, thanks to Joey Stiles being a professional and being apologetic about the whole thing. And of course, the number one story of the week is our preview of the WWE Survivor Series pay-per-view that is coming your way this Sunday on the WWE Network. This is a big card, not so much because of the number of matches, but because of the individual pieces that are involved here. Of course, you've got the headlining match, which is being dubbed a mega match, that being the showdown between Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. This is the rematch, if you want to go ahead and call it that, from their 2004 showdown at WrestleMania. That match left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. It was not a very good match. They did not have good chemistry, and it was more or less those two guys going out there and saying, okay, this is it. We're going to get paid, then we're going home. And this is an opportunity for them to now come around and do something better than that. The problem, of course, is that this is now 13 years almost, you know, as we'll go ahead and say, later, and you've got two guys who may or may not be in the prime of their shape anyway. Goldberg being the primary one that you can say that about. Lesnar is definitely going to have to carry him in this match, I'll say. It'll be interesting to see how it's booked and how it's put together. But I do think it'll be entertaining. I think it'll be fun to watch, so long as they can incorporate some things that will play to each man's strengths. But like I say, I think Lesnar's going to have to bear a majority of the load in terms of actual physicality when it comes to what's going on in this match. So we'll see what happens there. But the rest of the card is kind of a doozy in terms of the number of players involved. I'm not going to run down the entire thing in terms of the 10 versus 10 tag team Survivor Series match that's going on there, because you're talking about 20 guys who were involved in this match, and that's a huge thing. That's almost mind-boggling and unfathomable in terms of the booking of that. But just think of it, every tag team that's on either brand, and they're in that match, with the exception, I think, of like the Ascension and some of these other kind of tertiary tag teams that aren't doing a whole lot, but they're all in there. Yeah, all of them. And it's elimination style, of course. I'm not sure if they're doing a gimmick to where if one man from a team's eliminated, that both guys from that team have to leave the match, or if it's going to be where an individual guy gets pinned or not. Probably is where if one guy gets pinned, both guys are out, because otherwise that match is going to take 2 hours. But we'll have to see what happens there. Kind of interesting from a creative standpoint, because you got all that stuff to manage. But moving on from there, you've got the Women's Survivor Series match with Team Raw, which is, of course, captained by Charlotte. Then they also have Sasha Banks, Bayley, Alicia Fox, and Nia Jax on that team, who will be going against Team SmackDown in the form of Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, and they have Natalya listed as something of a mascot. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that really entails there, but they've done the same thing with James Ellsworth. I'll mention more about that here in a moment. But the Men's Survivor Series match may overshadow this one a little bit. I don't think it really should, because of the fact you've got the ladies involved, and the women are just kicking butt right now in WWE. Great things happening all around with the women's divisions in WWE, and I think that they really have a chance to shine through here in showing what they can accomplish. You got, of course, Charlotte and Sasha on the same side here for once, but then you have the opportunity for them to go against Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch. I know Natalya is going to be out there in some form or another. Nikki Bella, I probably would have taken out to include someone like Natalya in there, because she's definitely more experienced. But Nikki's come a long way, though, so we have to give her a little bit of a rub. But still, opportunities there for them to have a great showdown. The men's match is, of course, going to be what a lot of people are interested in because of the players involved. You've got the top-tier team for Raw that includes Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, and Braun Strowman. Strowman being kind of the odd man out there. He was somebody that just kind of got tossed in, but at the same time, I'll go ahead and put my personal opinion in here and saying that I think Strowman could be a really dynamic big man if you let him do it. He's showing things that give me that sense about him, and I hope that we get to see a lot more development from him as opposed to just being this stiff, robotic, 2 or 3 moves and done type of guy. Then on the other side of the aisle there, you got Team SmackDown, which is Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and Shane McMahon, which kind of was a surprise there, but McMahon's on the team. And then, as I mentioned there earlier, they've got James Ellsworth as the mascot of the team. I want to say that Ellsworth is just really amazing to me in that this is a guy who went from taking a squash match against Braun Strowman and getting his butt kicked there, and has turned that into a continuous reprising role, or a role that's reprising on these programs, and he's getting paid for this stuff. And what's even more amazing is that a couple of weeks ago when I was at an independent show, I was in line to meet Cody Rhodes, and up wanders James Ellsworth. He's standing right there beside me. Didn't, interact with him at all, because I was, trying to keep to myself, but the same thing, regardless, he was there, just in line, wandering around. So he's definitely got an amazing story to tell. Whether or not he'll have a book to sell someday, who knows, but the Survivor Series pay-per-view overall should be pretty awesome. I think there's a lot going on there that is of interest, a lot of things that could possibly be, I won't say earth-shattering, but could be defining in terms of the product going forward. One aspect of that is going to be the Cruiserweight division, because of the fact they've got a match where if Brian Kendrick cannot defend his title against Kalisto, and Kalisto wins, guess what? The SmackDown brand gets the Cruiserweight division, which I kind of have a feeling that's the way they want to go, because it's almost been to where the Cruiserweights have been pushed under the rug on Raw. And I thought that was going to happen pretty quickly. But this is sort of a sign to me that they want to get them off of Raw. So we'll have to wait and see, but it does kind of have that feeling to me anyway. Yeah, should be a fun show. Looking forward to it for sure. Something else we're looking forward to this weekend are the 13 events that are actually happening in the area. This is all independent stuff, all great things that are going on. A lot of tournaments that are happening around the area as well. And we want to take a moment to specifically talk about the PWX X16 tournament, which is going to be happening over the 2-night span of November 19th and 20th in Charlotte, North Carolina at Club Escapade. This is a big tournament, probably the biggest tournament in the Carolinas, involving a lot of top-tier talent. You got guys like Davey Richards, Zack Sabre Jr., Corey Hollis, Chip Day, tons of guys from all around that are going to be involved with this show, or these shows, I should say. And it's even more of a big to-do because of the fact that PWX is also in on the Flow Slam deal. That's right. These shows are going to be broadcast via the web on Flow Slam. So if you're not a member of that service already, if you want to plunk down your $20 for the next couple of weeks there, and go ahead and get on board so you can see this PWX event if you can't be there in person, that is. We may or may not be able to make it in person, but regardless, we're going to be able to see the show one way or the other. So definitely take advantage of that opportunity if you can. But if you can't be at those shows, lots of others coming your way this weekend. So let's go ahead and roll those posters. We'll be back in a few moments to round up the show. There you have it, our rundown of the events that are coming your way this weekend. If you are a wrestler, a promoter, or in some way involved with a wrestling promotion, and you didn't see your poster in that part of the show, it's because we didn't know about it. We do our best to peruse social media to keep ourselves abreast of what's going on in this part of the world, but we do miss things. That said, if you would send us your information via YouTube, email, Facebook, Twitter, we got all those things, we'd be glad to put your information out there. Please get it to us. We'll put it on Facebook for you, include it here in the midweek update. Do anything we can to put your word out there because that's a big part of what we do here on Rasslin with Redbeard, promoting the local shows and talent that are in this part of the world. Do appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoy the program, go and click that like button. And if you really enjoy what we've got on the channel here, go ahead and click subscribe. That way you'll be the first to know whenever we've uploaded something new like match videos, midweek updates, or a brand new Rasslin with Redbeard main show. Fun stuff there. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Be back next week.